Hi, this is Tim, and today I'm going to show you how to install Wampserver and WordPress on your machine, on your computer. Um, I've been using Wampserver for some time. I think it's the best way to create a website offline, locally on your PC, and before you actually transfer it to a live server and put it on the internet. So the first thing you need to do is we need to download Wampserver. So I'll open up a browser, and I know the web address for Wampserver is www.wampserver, and we need to go to the English version of the site. So it takes you to the Wampserver homepage, a Windows web development environment. If we scroll down to the downloads, you'll see there's two options. We've got the 64-bit or the 32-bit. If you know that your machine is 64-bit and you're sure about that, then go right ahead and download that. If you're not sure, or you know that your machine is 32-bit, then download the 32-bit because that'll work on either a 64-bit or a 32-bit machine. I know that mine is a 64-bit machine, so I'm going to download that. And you get this warning telling you that you need to have Visual Studio 2012 installed. I know that it's on my machine already. If you're not sure, then go ahead and download it because it won't hurt to download and install that, even if you do already have it. But I know that it's on my machine, so I'll skip that for now, and I'm just going to download Wampserver directly. Just give it a few seconds to start downloading. Okay, that's going to take a little bit, so I'll just pause this video for now. Okay, so that's finished downloading, ready to install it. Okay, click Next, accept the agreement, click Next again, and here we can see that it is going to install into the WAMP folder, which is, just leave it as it is. It's the best folder to install into. And we want to create some icons and click Install. It only takes a few seconds to install. Okay, now we need to choose our default browser. So this is the browser that you use all the time. And so we need to go into Program Files, x86, because that's where Google Chrome is. So click Google Chrome, and there it is there. And we open that up. So now we have to choose, or with these parameters here, we just leave them as they are. Click Next, and then we launch Wampserver 2. We can close that off now. And down here you can see that this is the Wampserver icon down here. It's a green icon. It starts off, when you first start Wampserver, it starts off as a red icon, then it turns to orange and then to green. So obviously when it's green, everything's working fine. Occasionally you will get an orange icon. It could be, there's a few different reasons for that. I probably will do a video on that some other time because, as I said, there is only a few reasons for that. But otherwise, if it's green, you can click on it, and the main options that you're going to need are localhost here and phpMyAdmin. If you click localhost, opens a browser, and this takes you to the Wampserver homepage. And down here where it says your projects, that's where you're going to find your projects. So if you install WordPress, that's where you're going to find your WordPress project down there. The other option here is phpMyAdmin. This is where you configure your databases, and of course, you know, WordPress always uses a database to install all of your data. And so if we click on that now, phpMyAdmin, we can create a database for WordPress. So if we go up to databases here, this is the home page for PHP My Admin, and this is all working locally. So this doesn't have anything to do with the internet. You could configure your databases here and have your internet disconnected because this is all happening locally on your machine. You get this error message down here saying your configuration file contains settings root with no password that correspond to the default My School database. Well, we don't need to worry about that because we are working locally. If that was on a server, you would need to worry about it on a live server. Because we're working locally, we don't need to worry about that. So what we need to do is go up to databases, click databases, and put in a database name. We'll put in WordPress. You could put in something else. So what I like to do if I'm working with a client, and I have multiple installations of WordPress on my PC, I might put in some kind of identifier, which might be the client's name or their business name, and but for today we'll just leave it as WordPress. You click create, and it says the database WordPress has been created. So if we were to click on WordPress, we don't find any tables in here yet because we haven't installed WordPress yet. But if you go up to privileges, and here you can see the username is root for localhost. Click edit privileges, and you can see that the password is empty, which is how we want it. And my advice here is just to leave all these settings alone for now. Don't worry about putting in a password because we are working offline. On one occasion I did put in a password, but I got it somewhere along the line. I made a mistake and I was locked out of the database. And so I just recommend not changing any of these settings at all. You can still use it without a password. Okay, so we've got the database set up, but now we need to go and download WordPress. So if we go to www.wordpress.org and we download WordPress, a fresh copy, and that doesn't take very long to download. And now that we've got Wampserver set up, we can just extract WordPress. If we click on that for a minute, extract straight into Wampserver. So Wampserver exists on the C drive, and the www folder within Wamp is where we're going to install WordPress. The www folder here emulates what your public HTML folder on a live server is. So we've just extracted that to the www folder. So if we go to C and then go to click on WAMP and www, we can see the WordPress installation here, and there are all the WordPress files. So now we need to connect this installation of WordPress to the database we just set up previously. So what we need to do, this all happens in the wp-config file, and so what we need to do is take this wp-config-sample.php, open that up in your text editor, and this is where we need to insert the values that we created in the database before. So our database name we created before was WordPress. The username, as I mentioned before, was root, and the password was of course blank. So we just delete that, and we just double check that those settings are all right. And now we need to save that as wp-config without the sample bit at the end. So if we just delete that and make sure saving as type PHP, click save, and we can close all of that off. Now if we go back to the www folder, we can see that our wp-config file is there, and so now we're ready to do the WordPress installation to set it up. So we need to go to localhost /WordPress, and there we are. This is the welcome screen. Welcome to the famous 5-minute WordPress installation process. You may want to browse the README documentation at your leisure. Otherwise, just fill in the information below and you'll be on your way to using the most extendable and powerful personal publishing platform in the world, which is quite a mouthful. But if you're getting this screen, that means that everything's worked, everything's connected, your database is connected with the WordPress installation, and we're not getting any error messages, which is a good thing. So all you need to do now is put in your information. So the name of your site could be, we could just type in WordPress test. My name is Tim. Put in password. Put it in again. And they match. My email, tim@geekoutmedia.com.au. We don't really need to worry about this bit. Allow search engines to index the site, but we'll uncheck it anyway. And with all of that information, we just need to click install WordPress. And it says success, WordPress has been installed. We're expecting more steps. Sorry to disappoint. Yeah, it's pretty basic really. You just need to kind of know what you're doing. So we can just click login, and I'm pretty sure the password should be correct. Okay, so we've made it to the WordPress dashboard, and it means that WordPress has installed and everything's working just fine. You can always check out the front page of your WordPress installation. That's how it looks these days. So that's basically it. WordPress installed in Wampserver on your PC locally. There is an alternative version on Mac if you are using a Mac. It's called MAMP, M-A-M-P, and it's pretty much just the same as WAMP. There's just a few little differences, but it's pretty much the same.